Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So this has been going viral. This chick on TikTok talking about she was lured out of her great marriage. That is a crazy way to dodge the accountability of being a cheater. Instead of saying I cheated on my husband and the man I cheated with then cheated on me. No, she didn't say that. She said, this is, and you're reading the text on the screen, to my ex who lured me out, lured. That's the word that's getting me. And I think that's the word that's getting everybody. Lured, like a stray cat. You know how you lure an animal? Come here. Come here, little kitty. Come here, little kitty. That's luring. You know you have a little cat food or something. Come here, little kitty. That's how she's saying that this other guy got her out of her marriage. She come here, stray kitty. That's basically what she's saying. Lured her out of a great marriage, and then once he got her, cheated on her. So I'm gonna play it without any sound because it's music. But this is the initial video that went viral. To my ex who lured me out of a great marriage and then got me and then cheated on me. Okay. So then she got backlash. So somebody was like, I need a story time. Somebody said, I'm so glad this happened to you. Hate from Nigeria. He didn't cheat, sweetie. He just got lured out. Right. I cheated on my husband, then got cheated on by the one I cheated on my husband with. Fixed it for you. He didn't cheat. He got lured out. Right. So I love this for your ex-husband. So she got chewed up in the comment section. And these are a lot of women that chewed her up in that comment section. Like, excuse me, ma'am. What now? So then she comes on she thought that a story time was going to rectify this situation and help people to understand, quote unquote, her side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play. It's like 7 minutes and we're going to let her talk.
To respond to this post, and thank you Riley for bringing up I need a story time, because I think it needs a story because I'm sick of explaining it. So I got pregnant when I was 19 years old, okay, and my mom was like, you're getting married. Actually, yeah, no, I gave birth when I was 19, so I was like 18ish when I was pregnant. So my mom like forced it upon me. She was like, you're not going to be one of those mothers who are not married and you're on your own on welfare, because she worked for the welfare department. So she was like, my daughter's not going to be one of them. I deal with that on the daily, and you are going to get married. Now, we loved each other.
So basically what she's saying here is that she was being fast. She got pregnant as a teen. And her mama was like, you aren't going to do this. You're not going to do this. You going to have a man. You going to get married. You going to marry that boy, I guess. Or you going to marry somebody. But what you're not going to do is be out here and be one of these statistics that I have to deal with because she just said her mom was like a social worker or what have you. And so I see this stuff cross my desk daily. And I'll be doggone if my daughter is one of these girls. So what you're going to do, you're going to have, so your mother tried to have you with some kind of honor. But I'm gonna let her finish.
Each other, yes, we were madly in love. We were high school sweethearts, yeah. So we were just pregnant. We moved in. My mom's like, "You're getting married," so we got married. I was 5 months pregnant when I walked down the aisle. Everyone, it was the talk of the town. When a big family, oh my God, she's pregnant. Oh my God. That's why my mom's like, "You're getting married. She's not going to be made fun of because her daughter had a baby out of wedlock." And I was just like, okay, whatever. I went with it. I went with it. I was 19. What the fuck was I going to do? And I loved him like madly. We were crazy in love with each other. That's why it was a good marriage. We were best friends. So when we got married, he became a bricklayer. Okay. So it was a great job in Detroit. And for a long time, I mean, he was building all the buildings downtown, everything like that. We bought a house. We were the only people out of our friends who had a house. Everybody came to our house. It was the party house. We really had a good time. It was a great marriage. It was a great, happy family. Then he started getting laid off all the time because the economy just.
So she's starting to get into the story of how her and her husband got together. He's the father of the child that she was pregnant with. She said they were teen sweethearts and they loved each other. And so when her mother pressured the situation, this is what's called, quote unquote, the shotgun wedding. You're gonna get married now. To the boy you let impregnate you. Now y'all gonna be a family because you're a family anyway. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna legitimize it. So her mother, and I think that it's important to note that it was the community, it was the family, it was her mom that felt like it was shameful to have a daughter having children out of wedlock. That's the difference between everybody else's community and the Black community. It's not celebrated on the whole in white communities, even though they have a single mother rate and things of that nature. It's not all that small, but at the same time, there is still a stigma there, a shame there for that. And those kinds of women that have a bunch of kids out of wedlock and things of that nature, it's not celebrated. They are not looked highly upon. They are not the standard. They are not the aspiration. They are a cautionary tale. And it's like that with most other communities. In the Black community, that's the problem. In the Black American community, this is the standard. Single motherhood, many times with multiple children, and also with multiple fathers for those children. And it is talked about, you're a pick-me if you speak against it, if you say that it is shameful, that is the standard for Black people and in the Black community, you're looked down upon. Instead of looking down upon that behavior, the people who speak against the behavior are actually looked down upon. And so since we removed the element of shame from something that was actually shameful, now it's shameless. And so you have people like the lady that's going viral on TikTok for having 6 kids and all this other kind of stuff. They make it a whole identity. So you have that whole thing going on and nobody, quote unquote, supposed to judge. But I thought that was an interesting point that was actually made in passing, how she was made shame for it. And so she had to go along with it because her community, her village had a higher standard. And so she was forced to live up to that standard. And so not only was it that element, but she actually was in love with the man. And she's explaining how, even though they're young, she said they were high school, so he might be a year older than her. They're pretty much the same age. And he goes out and becomes a bricklayer, which is an excellent job. And they buy a house. They're a happy family. So we're going to let her continue.
This wasn't what it was. Like, shortly after we got married, I mean, it was like every winter he would get laid off. Every winter, because you can't lay bricks. You can't lay concrete. It's got to be a certain temperature. You know what I mean? So we struggled. We lived paycheck to paycheck every day of our lives. There were always single men.
So he went from being this excellent provider to they were living paycheck to paycheck the whole time. If they were in Detroit, which I heard her mention Detroit, then yes, roofing, certain types of construction jobs, certain jobs like that. And when it's the dead of winter, them men can't work. So that would be true. He would have needed to find some off-season work, because in the Midwest it get too cold and you can't actually do a lot of that construction work, okay, in the dead of the winter, just because the temperature and the snowfall and the freezing, right? The ground freezes, everything freezes. So if he's a bricklayer or anything like that, a lot of those types of construction type jobs, contractor type of jobs, they get on hold for the wintertime. And so you have to have a hustle, or you have to find other income during the winter months. And the winter months is longer than the summer months, the spring and the summer months. So they did have, it's feast and famine, right? But you got to do your money the right way in order for the famine part to not be as devastating. And it sounds like she didn't like the famine part. The feast part was fine, but the famine was not.
All around, all the time, there were single men. Every time there was guys that lived across the street, they always flirted. There was always alcohol involved. Everybody was always drinking. Like I said, our house was the party house. So I never did anything, but then there were times like, and I just don't even know. Like, I just don't, that's a whole nother video. We're going to cut that out, and that'll be another video. I didn't know what it meant to take vows, you guys. I was 19, and I probably was ready to pass out from lack of oxygen, because I was standing in a church full of everybody there for me, and 5 months pregnant, which I hated my pregnancy. I was miserable. I was not the girl who dreamt of getting married and walking down the aisle. No, I want to run the beach and be free and lay in the sun. That's it. No, I don't want to do anything like family. I don't know. I didn't want to do that. I mean, it wasn't my dream. I did it.
So here she tells what the crux of the issue has always been for her. This is why she ended up conforming to a certain degree with what her mother said. But she was who she was prior to that. She's the fast girl that was screwing and got pregnant. She just said, I want to run the street. She said beach, but we know what that is. I want to run the street. I'm a hoe. I'm a hoe. Because she was mentioned, it was always these single men around. So it's single men in the world. It's going to always be single men in the world. It's men in the world. They in the world. They in there. And you going to pass by them. You going to live next to them. You going to work next to them. And that ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Because just like you don't want your man cheating because it's women in the world, you ain't supposed to be cheating because it's men in the world. And they going to still be there. So here's the thing. She's telling what it is. I'm a hyena. My mama was trying to make me live the life of a lioness, but I'm not a lioness. I'm not. I'm a hyena. I like being a hyena. I wanted to be a hyena. And this lioness lifestyle was cramping my style. That's not who I wanted to be. I'm doing this because of familial pressure and social pressure. And she studied harping on her age, but your husband was around the same age you were, taking those same vows. And it seemed like he took those vows seriously even as a young man. And he jumped right into husband role. And that's not to say everything was done perfectly, because y'all young and it's going to be stupid stuff happening as well, because to make y'all house the party house, that's some young stuff, right? That's some teen, 20, that's some young stuff. But at the same time, you grow together, you grow up. You know, the stuff that we did at 22, we're not doing that at 28, 29, 30. We're not doing it. You know, it was cool then because we thought it was cool, but now we are more mature. Things is happening. Life is happening. We don't have time to have our house be the party house. We don't have time to be getting drunk. We don't have time. You know what I mean? So I can forgive that because they was young, but they were still together. And he was still trying to be a husband. She didn't want to be a wife. That's her problem. That was her problem. She never did. She got her arm twisted to do the right thing. but she didn't want to do the right thing. She wanted to run around. That's why the single men thing was mentioned, because it was tempting, because that's who she is, not a lioness. So therefore the loyalty was not there.
And I played face for a long time. So he's always laid off. I have to, like, I'm not educated, so I got to go get educated, right? Like, I always waitress at night. So my husband at the time would go to work bricklaying during the day. Well, that's how it was during the day in the beginning. And then I would go at night when he got home, would cook dinner and everything. As soon as he would come home, we would switch, and he would stay there with the baby at night, and I would go waitress, and then I'd come home. That went on for a while. Then, like I said, he started getting laid off. So then somebody had to go to work. So time for mama to step up to the plate. So I did. I was like, yeah, bitch, I'm ready. I'm ready to get the fuck out of this house. But then I was going to school. I was working at a hospital, working at the hospital, clinical hours at the hospital, and bartending at the same time. And he was just staying home, which is fine. We were a team, but I started losing respect. He started, we just really, hey, the dog always wants to drink my coffee. Benny. He's my new man now. That's what I don't have a man. Okay. I live with no man. This is my man. They rule my world. We just broke apart. It was getting bad, and I lost.
So here she's explaining how she lost respect for a man that I don't see the problem. It was always feast and famine from the beginning. And you just said you weren't educated enough to cover the gap when there were gaps. So you had to do uneducated woman's work. Going to waitress, that depends on tips. They don't even pay you a living wage for that. And then you working at a hospital. So what was you, like a CNA? Well, because you just said you weren't educated. So it's not like you had a registered nurse degree or LPN degree or any of those things. You did not have the education to make sure that working in the hospital was lucrative for you. You was an orderly. It don't take long to be a CNA, things of that nature. It don't even take long to be like a phlebotomist and things of that nature. So whatever it was that you was doing in the hospital, it was of the lower rank in the hospital. So you're having to take on these little jobs to try to cover the gap because you're not educated to get one. You weren't educated enough at that time to get one job that would actually take up the slack for when your husband would be at those times where he couldn't bricklay and he would be essentially out of work. So what I'm hearing is he may or may not have had a lot of hustle behind the famine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not bricklaying. They don't pay you. There's not any compensation at all. When it's not the season and you're not working, nobody's paying you because these are contract jobs. So, you know what I'm saying? So from what she's saying, it seems like perhaps he didn't have a lot of hustles on the side or side stuff that he was doing at those times. But whether he did or not, they only got one kid. So this is years going by and this kid is getting older. So she's explaining how they had a system of he works in the day, she take care of the kids. So this was to mitigate the use of any child care and having to pay for it, which sounds fine to me. It sounds like a system. It sounds like y'all came together and decided this is how we gonna work this. This is how we gonna do this. So he can't do his job at night. So he has to do his work in the day. And then she's the one that takes the evening shift and go and work and what have you. She doesn't want to do this. That's the whole problem. The problem isn't even in the details. The issue wasn't even whether or not he had hustle or not during the downtime. The issue was it was too much order. It was too much doing what was right. It, like the old folks say, it was too much like right for her to do what she needed to do in this situation because she never wanted to do it.
I had resentment, and there was this guy at my new job who would not stop flirting with me, and he was tall, dark, and handsome, and he said all the right things, and I was just, it was the new job I was getting into, and he was like the best at that job, and I just watched him and learned from him every day, and I just was enamored by him, and he never left me alone every day. He just was a talker. Like, I mean, my phone was blowing up. He never stopped. It was irresistible. It became irresistible. I was pushing him off of me. But then we went out, all of us as a group, and we drank. And when alcohol's involved, it's not good. That's why I don't drink anymore. Literally the beginning of the end. I think weeks later, my ex-husband found like his receipt in my vehicle and asked who he was. And I think that also he may have started to go into Verizon and start looking at the hundreds and hundreds of text messages that were going on each.
So for your husband to get to that level of suspicion, where you think that he started contacting Verizon and getting like transcripts for text messages back and forth, things of that nature, you were blatantly cheating in this man's face. You were blatantly playing in this man's face. You were playing in this man's face. That's what you were doing. You were throwing things up in his face. You were throwing that man up in his face even before y'all started really getting with each other, because you were so enamored of this fast talking, no good dude that was a different flavor than your husband, which, by the way, you never said that your husband wasn't giving you attention. You never said that your husband didn't like you. You never said that y'all was arguing all the time. You were the one complaining. You were the one you were the malcontent. You were the one that was, discontent over this and complaining about that and don't like this and that. You don't want to do the struggle part. You don't want to do the grind part. You don't want to do the build part. You don't want to do the part. You don't want to do your part. So you blamed your husband for you not wanting to do your part in the marriage. I didn't hear anything at all that was required of her that was beyond the scope of a normal marriage. I didn't hear anything. I heard no abuse. I heard no nothing. So this is how you know it was a good dude, because she in this whole thing ain't said nothing about what he really did wrong. That's because he wasn't doing nothing to her. It was her. All of this stuff is just her. It was internal. She probably thought she was too fine to be doing all of this stuff. She missing out on all the good D in the street. She missing out on the streets. That was the whole problem. He got her locked down in this good marriage that she don't want to be in because she too fine and she too this and she too that, and she really too hot in the tail to be tied down to 1D. That was her whole gripe. That's her whole problem. And then your eyes, as the old folks say, your eyes was too big for your stomach. So she eyeballing this man at work, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Turns out it was AstroTurf. Okay. And she did not appreciate the husband that she had. But that's most times with a lot of people, you don't miss the water until the well run dry.
Day between me and the dude. He forgets me. What do people give me? So in that time, I literally, like I said, it was the beginning of the end, and I broke down, and it was a very quick downward spiral. I'm lucky that I made it out, never losing my job or, also graduating and just getting through all of the stuff that I got through, because I was in utter turmoil the entire time. I got divorced, and then I moved in with the dude. My son didn't want to live with him. I mean, it was just a whole horrible thing. My son just dropped out of school. It was just, everything went bad when I got divorced, and I should never have. And I was just delusional the whole time. I was completely delusional. I drank so much alcohol. I could not make decisions properly. My family would not interact with me anymore because I was making such wrong decisions. Nobody liked the guy that I was dating. So I had no support. They were just shocked that I left my ex. It's a good time.
So she's winding it up. Okay. And we're going to let it finish. But it's what you get. It's what you get. You get what you get when you do people dirty. She did wrong in the eyesight of Allah. On her husband. She did him dirty. She did him dirty. She wasn't oppressed and needed a release from. It wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that. This is a man that was, for all intents and purposes, fulfilling her rights and doing what he knew how to do as a husband to the best of his ability. And she was just unsatisfiable. She was one of them unsatisfiable chicks because she didn't want to be there. It wasn't nothing that he could do about it because she didn't want to be there. There was no amount of adjustment that he could have made that would have changed her mind because she wanted to run the street. And it just is what it is. When these chicks do, you can't keep people that don't want to be kept. And that go for men and women. You can't keep people that don't want to be kept. If people don't want to be kept by you and they just want to hit the street, it's not going to be no amount of a man being a lion or a woman being a lioness that's going to check that. They gonna run the streets. And if you stick by them, they going to drag you with them. They going to drag you with them. They going to run the streets and you're going to pay. Your heart going to be broke. And you're going to be left picking up the pieces. So good for the guy, good for her ex on saying you're not going to do it to me. And her family, notice again, the intervention of her family. They basically cut her off because you stupid. You're stupid. You broke your family up for nothing. 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 You could not even articulate what was really wrong in that marriage because it was nothing really going on wrong. You just wanted to be out there in the street, grinning and skinning in some man's face. It's just what it is. It just is what it is. And that's why her mom and her family was like, girl, get out of my face. We do not even want to hear the pity party or the sob story. We don't like that dude. He ain't nobody. He ain't nobody. You leaving your good husband for nobody. We can see the foolishment on him. We can see the foolishment on him. Because we know he know you was married. So he ain't even care. And you didn't care. Trying to make your son go around this new dude. He don't like that dude. That dude ain't none of his daddy. You trying to make somebody accept the jump off you left your husband for. No.
You know, good fucking times. No, it was the worst of times, and I don't know how I made it out. It was the grace of God that I made it all out alive. And now I'm like way on the other side, and it's crazy because the boyfriend, the guy that I left my husband for, he still literally tries. I literally still had to just block him because he still tries to come into my life. And he lives with a girl. So this is how I know that he's just. That's why I can make this fucking video, okay, and say, one thing about me is that I know that I'm never like you. Okay, that's what the fucking video is. Why is everyone flipping out over the video? Like, I went into the comments and they hide these comments, and I approved all of these because I want them to be seen. I want all these comments to be seen. I take accountability. If you look in my follow me or anything, I have a series called Hard Life Lessons Learned, and that's one of them. The grass is not greener on the other side. Like, I've lived and learned. I have learned, okay, people. I'm not a narcissist. I live alone, and mostly because I decide to, and I am an isolator. I don't like to be around others, but I don't like to date. I don't know. I am alone. So that's what I get, and it is lonely and sad. But what hurt the most out of all of that was my son. And that's why I would have stayed. Okay. Because mothers should, you should give of yourself for your children. And I was only thinking of myself. I was very selfish and drunk and stupid. But now I'm on the other side. Now I'm getting emotional, but there you go, Riley. That's the story. So I think I need to respond to this post.
And there you have. She thought that was going to make it better. It did not make it better. She's talking about she took accountability. No, you had acknowledgement. She acknowledged it. but she didn't take accountability for it. From the looks of it, from the sounds of it, her son don't even really mess with her like that. Her son don't even really mess with her like that. Like, Mom, you messed us all up. Like, you crashed us all. You crashed out, and all of us crashed with you. And listen, with a long handle spoon, Mom, with a long handle spoon, because this boy probably was old enough to see the foolish man. Or what? But that's what you get. That I'm telling you, hyenas are always hyenas, and lionesses are always lionesses. She was never cut out for this. For the work of a lioness is too heavy for a hyena. They can't do it. They can't do that work. They can try to mask it for as long as they possibly can, but they cannot continue. They can't do it till death do them part. They can't do it until the vow is fulfilled. They can't. They are not capable of it. This is why you don't wife up a hyena, because she's not capable of doing what a lioness does tirelessly year in and year out. And lionesses get tired. We get tired too. But the difference is that we understand, and it's not in us to just stop, because it's not fake to begin with. We're down in the trenches with you, because we're actually fulfilling the purpose of the creation of us. We are created to help you. We're created to help a husband. We're programmed for it. And lionesses actually fulfill that programming. We were built specifically for it. This is why lionesses don't like when there's no structure and vision, because we were built to help a vision. If you don't have that, the programming fails, because it's like, I was built to help, but I can't help you if there's nothing to help with. That's where you get a lioness to be frustrated with, because we're built for that. And we embrace that nature that the Most High gave to us. We embrace that nature. We like that nature. That adds the depth and the value of us. Right? And we know that. Especially a lioness that come into her own. We know that. And we own it. And we love it. That doesn't mean it doesn't get difficult. It just means that we understand it. And so therefore, even in the difficult times, we still will do it, because we understand the assignment. It's not always about whether or not we feel good at the time. It's not always about whether or not, you know what I'm saying, our happiness or this or that. It's really not about that for us, and we know that. It's about the bigger goal. It's about seeing the forest for the trees. And hyenas can't get over it. Hyenas cannot get over it. They can't see the forest for the trees. They can't. And this is why they'll be like, nope, I can't do it. I got to get out. It becomes suffocating to them, because it's like they can't be who they are. When you are inauthentic, it do become suffocating, like, because at some point who you are gotta come out. Like, you gotta do it. And this is why she did what she did. She told it at the beginning of the video that she's not that girl. I'm not the marriage hunker down nope, I'm a party girl. I drink and I want to run the street and bounce on different men. That's what I like to do. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't really get to do that. And I'm resentful of my family and my husband for putting me in a position to do something that I'm not built to do and that I don't want to do. And so she tanked it. When she got tired of it all, she crashed out. And she crashed out with that man. And that man did not want nothing to do with her. That man didn't want her for real. She was just something to do. Can I do it? That's what that sounds like to me. Can I get this woman who is married, in a relationship, Can I get her? It was like a challenge or something, like a bet or something. He didn't want this girl. He was on to the next. Girl, you ain't exciting no more. I done got you. So, girl, get out my face. That's what it was. This man was nothing. This man was a nobody that she left her husband for. When hypergamy go wrong. Anyways, I've taken up enough of y'all time. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.